Hi guys, how you doing? Joe Martin here. So you probably clicked on this video because you think there's more to life. This existence that you're currently living in a job you don't like and in a situation that might just be okay, but you know you're meant for more, is just grinding you down. You think there must be more out there, but you just don't know how to get it. And I was in the exact same situation, which is why I've created this video, which is a complete blueprint, the step-by-step guide of how to go from zero online income and no idea how to grow this to 3K a month in 90 days. I'm not one of these gurus that will promise you millions within a couple of months, because 3K is exactly what I did last year. I was a plasterer and went to an online income through my marketing agency of 3K a month within 90 days. Since then, I have scaled past 10K, but to be honest, most people just want the initial 3K a month, which gives you complete freedom, which it did with me, where last year I traveled over 20 countries while doing this. I was in the exact same situation as you. So I finished uni, I was completely lost. I didn't know what to do with my life. So I went solo traveling for 3 months, and this completely blew my mind of just everything I thought of the world. But then I had to come home because I ran out of money and had to get a job. And that's where everyone told me, well, you need to apply for grad jobs, you need to settle down, and you need to just do what everyone else in society is doing. But I just traveled around the world. I've just seen what is possible. But I went to the job every day, hating my existence, to be honest. And then COVID came and I had to stay inside, and then I got a job as a plasterer, which wasn't much better. It gave me a slight bit of freedom that I could quit and travel occasionally, but the day-to-day I'd spend like a year just saving up money, doing a job I didn't enjoy. And that's where, when I went traveling, I met some digital nomads who were able to travel the world full time. So then and then, when I got back plastering, I went on a path to try and make it my online job. And since then, I quit my job in December 2023 as a plasterer, 5K in the bank, absolutely no clients and no idea what I was doing. I managed to go from 0 to 3K a month within 90 days. Last year I traveled to over 20 countries and I was only working maximum 10 hours per week. I traveled to countries like Pakistan, Afghanistan, Peru, Brazil, China, Japan. And this was all while I was working, running an agency, and it gave me complete freedom. Now I'm living in Bali, I've scaled to 10K a month, and I want to help people like you for free with no paywall, which is why I'm giving you all the information today, and also all the resources are in the description so you can look at them in your own time after and really start implementing the steps. So grab a notepad and pen, turn off any distractions, because this video can change your life, because it did exactly that for me. These steps are what took me from an unhappy, unconfident plasterer to what I'm doing now, which is traveling the world. I have complete time and location freedom, and I get to choose where I live. I'm currently in Bali. In a week's time, I'm going to Vietnam, and then over summer, I'll be traveling Europe. So over this video, we're going to be going through a few different topics, and everyone is really, really important. So do not skip them. So we start off with mindset. The mindset you need. Often we have a lot of limiting beliefs, and that is what I struggled with. And you cannot act outside these beliefs. So you need the right mindset to know it's possible to then start taking the actions. Next is what skill to choose. What skill do you choose to build this online income? You might think you've got no skills currently, so I'll help you pick a skill to start on your journey. Next is picking a niche and why you need a niche. This is so important, and I'll make sure to go into detail with that. Offer creation. The better your offer, if you have a good offer, it makes it 100 times easier to get clients. And you've got to think you only need 1 or 2 high-paying clients to actually start quitting your 9 to 5 and traveling the world. So that is why offer creation is so important. Next, once we got the offer down, how do we get clients? How do we do outreach and stand out when there's millions of different people trying to work online? How do you stand out from the crowd? And exactly my method, which books me 30 sales calls every single month. Next is sales. Once you get on these sales calls, at the start, I had no idea how to sell. So I'll give you the exact script and also the psychology behind each part of the script and how to actually sell so that you can close them in one call. Then service delivery. how do you deliver a service to keep the clients on board? And then finally, outsourcing. How can you bring people onto your team to make sure you're only working 5-10 hours a week so you get to enjoy traveling the world? So let's get started, let's get into it. I'm really excited, and yeah, make sure to make those notes, and if you need any of the resources, they're in the description. So what we're doing now, we're starting with mindset. And as you could see, and as I mentioned earlier, you cannot act outside of your belief system. So if you believe that making money online and you're not capable of that, or that other people like me who make money online have something that you don't, you simply won't act outside of these beliefs. So you have to change your mindset. So you have to realizing that making 3K a month in the next 90 days is so possible. It's literally just 1 or 2 high paying clients, which you need 1 or 2 yeses, and that will change your life. So I was an insecure, unconfident plasterer, and I actually got told when I was younger that I wasn't creative and I shouldn't go into marketing. And I've managed to grow a personal brand of over 130,000 followers, and also in that time scale an agency in marketing which does over 10K a month. So I promise you, if I can do it, you can do it. I literally went from a plasterer, and this is in the last 15 months I've managed to scale this quickly. And as you know, it's simply cause and effect. Everything in life is cause and effect. If you keep putting in the good inputs, which is having a strong mindset, a good offer, a willingness to learn, and consistent outreach, you will then start to get good output. And we cover all the good inputs in this video. So if you start to implement these, and there'll be action steps throughout, that is where you start to close clients, 3K a month, and have the freedom to travel the world. So what I'm about to explain to you will help you start to rewire your brain. And I'm not one for manifestation. I've rejected the whole thing for years. And I just know what I want and I take the actions. But actually, when I was a plasterer, I've realized I was kind of manifesting this life. But I'm going to show you the science behind it, the no bullshit science and direct, like step-by-step guide of how manifestation works and how you can rewire your brain. So it comes down to your paradigm, and everyone in the world has a paradigm, and your result of your life now is fully down to your paradigm. But what is a paradigm? So it's simply how you perceive the world. It's built up of every belief, assumption, view, judgment, and previous experience in your life. And you have millions, billions, trillions of these. For example, Marmite. Marmite is a thing. If you don't know what it is, it's like a disgusting product that you put on your toast, and they have Vegemite in Australia. But Marmite is a thing where it is just a thing, and their slogan was, you either love it or you hate it. But how can one thing, some people love it or some people hate it? It's because they have a paradigm for it. They might have had a past experience where they tried it, which makes them either love it or hate it. And that it acts like the way you act is because of your belief of this. So if you hate it, I hate Marmite. So my actions is I'll avoid Marmite. I won't eat Marmite. Same with something like Donald Trump. People will have a paradigm about Donald Trump. Some people love him, some people hate him. And that will determine how you act. If you love him, you'll vote for him. If you hate him, you won't vote for him and you might rally against him. So everything in life is part of like your paradigm. You'll have a perception of everything. So money being hard to come by was one that affected me in my business. And it wasn't like I was a pretty middle class family, but it was just little things where it feeds into, for example, we went on a day out, my parents would be like, oh, we're not getting lunch, it's expensive to eat out, we've got to save money, so we've got to pack lunch. And it's not a big thing, but little things like that do change your perception. So then I had this mentality that money is hard to come by, and I kind of had to overcome this, because otherwise when I'm selling a service for like 3K a month, 4K a month, I'm going to think, who's going to pay that? That's so much money. And then I'll sell it like that. So it's really understanding your paradigms and fixing them essentially. And then another one is like sales being for pushy extroverts. I thought, I'm an introvert, I can't do sales. I'm an introvert, I can't do content. But you have to rewire your brain to understand that it is possible. There is introverts that are good salespeople, so why not you? So you cannot act outside your belief system. And if you believe something to be true, you will act in accordance to it. So if you believe you're not capable of living this life or build a business, you won't be able to achieve this because you simply won't take the actions. Because your life is a sum of all the actions you've ever taken. And all the actions come from all the decisions you've made. If you decide to eat Marmite, you'll take the action to eat Marmite. And then all the decisions are from all the options that you perceive. You can only decide on all the options you perceive, essentially. And then all your options come from your thoughts that you have. And then all your thoughts come from how you see what you're thinking about. And then the sum of that is your paradigm, so how you perceive the world. So your thoughts come from how you perceive the world. The world will just happen, and constantly you've got this storyline in your head of what is happening. You'll perceive not the truth, but your perception of the truth. And I'll explain that a bit more because it can get confusing. But until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. So until you realize your thought patterns and how they affect your life, you will be controlled by them. And it's like the money being hard to come by. I didn't know that until I learned about this and really thought about it. And it was affecting my business without me knowing. But the good thing is you can change your perception. You can change how you see the world. For example, you might have been, over the first few years of your life, you might have got these red glasses on. So everything in the world you see is red. And if someone told you that's blue, you'd be like, no, it's not, it's red. And that's why people are so defensive about their beliefs and about how they see the world. Because that is literally their paradigm. That is how they perceive that as the truth. So what you do, you can take these lenses off, you can change it. But how do you actually build paradigms? So every positive or negative experience, and that includes imagined experiences, will tip the scales in a certain direction. For example, let's take sales. You may have never taken a sales call before, but you might perceive it, like I did, that sales is for people that are naturally extroverted. And if you're an introvert, that tips the scale negatively. You think, oh, sales isn't for me. I'm not naturally extroverted. I can't naturally do this. So that moves the scale slightly down. However, if you got on your first sales call and sold someone for 10K, suddenly there's a massive rock that gets stacked on the positive side. So suddenly you're like, I'm really good at sales because it is weighted. If you sold someone for £10, it might slightly positive experience. If you sold them for $1 million, the scale would suddenly go like that. So it is a positive experience if you then close someone, and then you'll act in accordance to this belief, which is so important. So then you'll go into calls thinking, I'm good at sales. So you'll become more confident, you'll ask the difficult questions, you'll close more deals, and then you'll tip the scale even more positive because of the confirmation bias. And that's why it's so easy to get into good and bad spirals. You see it with stuff like football. You'll see someone will score a goal and then they'll go on a run of 10 games where they'll score every game, and then they'll go on a bit of a dry patch and it'll just continue. There's these spirals. Like if you have one good sales call, you're more likely to close the other one because you go in more confidently. And this happens with everything in your life. So that's why you have to be so careful with your mindset. And it's something I'm constantly trying to keep on top of, because I think naturally, especially from being in the UK, I'm quite negative. But you have a paradigm for sales calls, creating content, public speaking, talking on camera, food, every single thing. So how do you change your paradigm? So first of all, you have to realize that your current paradigm is wrong. You have to get rid of your ego and think, am I seeing the truth? Or is it just wrong? Is sales just for extroverts? Or is that just an excuse for me to try and get out of it? For me to give an excuse of why I shouldn't do sales calls? Because no, it's not. There's introverts that will be amazing sellers. And it's just about training yourself to realize that stuff can be learned. Second is repeatability. Like humans need to be reminded more than need to be taught. Once you learn this stuff, for the start, you'll smash it. But then slowly and slowly you'll forget about it, and that's why you have to keep reminding yourself. That's why it's good for me to do this, because it's reminding me of that I need to keep keep on top of this. And then learning. The more knowledge you have, the more you can change your paradigm. So this might all seem a bit woo-woo and a bit not relevant to building the life you want, but it is the single most important thing. If you don't understand this, if you don't work on this, all the other things I'm about to teach you, you're going to hold yourself back because of your mindset. So it's really important you understand this. And science shows that the brain can't tell the difference between an imagined experience and an actual experience. If you feel the emotion of that, and if you really paint a picture, it can't tell the difference, which is absolutely mental. It shows that you can train yourself to be good at sales, to be better on camera, just by imagining it. And that, as I said, I'm not into manifestation, but this has literally changed my life. So you can stack individual paradigms positively without actually experiencing them. And I did this without knowing as a plasterer. So a plasterer, you don't really have to use your brain much. So I'd spend 5-6 hours a day, well, I'd spend 8 hours, but some of it you'd have to concentrate, but 5-6 hours a day, I'd just be plastering, but the whole time I'd just be thinking about my dream life. I'd be thinking about living in Bali, I'd be thinking about running a business, traveling the world. So subconsciously, I then thought it was possible because my brain was living these experiences. Every time I go to bed, I think about it, I dream about it. And that is where my brain was constantly like, oh, this is possible, this is possible. So then I'd take actions in accordance to this. So yeah, as I said, like I was subconsciously teaching my brain that it was possible. So an action step you need to take is pick the 3 to 5 most important paradigms that could change your life. So what are the things that you think are holding you back? And then you need to take these beliefs and spin them on the head and make them positive. Make them something that will help you towards your goal. Then every day, paint the picture in the mind and make sure you feel the emotion as if it's happened. And this is what it makes it feel like a real experience. So I'll show you some of mine. So money is really hard to come by. I'm not the sort of person to make a lot of money. So I flip that into, I believe that money is extremely abundant and is flowing to me in great quantities. I attract a large amount of money and I deserve a large amount of money. I feel wealthy and at peace. Because then I started to look around out my window in Bali. There was millions of pounds worth of buildings. And then I looked at my industry, the health and wellness industry. It's over $1 trillion industry. So I needed like a 0.00001% to become a millionaire. There's so much money out there. You have to be loud and pushy to be a good salesperson. I'm naturally an introvert and I'll always be this way, therefore never a good salesman. And it's just not true. It's just, a lot of it is because your body don't want to feel pain, your mind don't want to feel pain. So you kind of come up with these excuses. So I'm a ruthless closer and I can calmly close any prospect if I believe it's within their best interest. I feel unshakable and confident. And then I'm extremely agreeable, which I still quite am. It's something I'm still working on. I don't want to make the prospect feel awkward on the sales call, and I don't want to put them in a painful situation as they may not like me. I've changed this to, I'm not afraid of confrontation in sales, and I don't think difficult questions are difficult to ask. My sales process is thorough, calculated, and rooted in confidence. I feel powerful. So doing this every day will start to rewire your brain. And to start with, just do a few, maximum like 10, and pick the main topics. So for you, whether it's believing that this life is possible, sales calls, outreach, any of those, you want to write it, your limiting belief, write the opposite, which is the positive belief, and also how it makes you feel. And you, as you are now, cannot achieve your dreams. You have to become this new person that can. So you have to focus on not the goal, but becoming the person that can achieve the goal. And that is one of the best things I've kind of felt throughout this journey. It wasn't about becoming a digital nomad or growing an agency. It was who I became in the process. I was too scared to be on camera and now I can talk on camera. I was too scared to go on sales calls, now I can talk on sales calls. So it's about becoming the person who can. So Joe 1.0 was unconfident, narrow-minded, too realistic and self-conscious. And then to become a 6-figure agency owner, I've still got some of these negative traits which are agreeable, but I've become more disciplined, a bit more open-minded, a bit more bigger thinker. But then to become the person I want to be, I have to be confident. I need to be disagreeable. I need to learn to be an extrovert on sales calls a lot more. And it's about moving between being an introvert and extrovert. So you have to become the person that can easily achieve these goals. And that's what you should focus on. So you want to write down the character traits you have now. These can be good or bad. So for me, agreeable, I'm pretty disciplined. I'm naturally an introvert. I'm pretty unassertive. And I'm not that much of a big thinker. All of these are ones that I've grown a lot. Like I was an extremely small thinker before, maybe I'm a medium thinker now. And then you want to write down the character traits of someone who has your dream life. What would they be like? So they would have the ability to be extroverted. They'd be able to hop on camera. They'd be able to hop on sales calls, be really confident. They'd be able to network. They'd be disagreeable. They'd be willing to ask those difficult questions, handle objections on sales calls. They'd be assertive. They'd be going after what they want. They'd be assertive on sales calls with people who work for them, not in a nasty way, but just having the ability for that. They'd be patient and they'd be confident. And the positive traits that you need here, that is what you need to learn to become you version 2. And it's not easy, but with the imagined situations and then also backing up with real life. So you can imagine being good at sales calls and keep doing that. But when the opportunity arises, you've got to hop on that sales call. You've got to be confident. You've got to ask the difficult questions to then back it up in real life as well. For me, when I was a plasterer, I was backing it up by filming and posting content. I solo traveled, which was big for me because I was really unconfident. Talking on camera in public, outreaching to businesses and hopping on sales call. Through all this, I became someone that could. And I promise you, when I was a plasterer, I couldn't. That person couldn't do what I've done now. I had to become a different person. And I started to stack the rocks thinking that this life was achievable. I started to stack all of those in the positive direction, which allowed me to then get this positive feedback loop, which was the internal feedback of feeling more confident, but also the external feedback of views, getting appointments, brand deals, and closing sales calls. And this created the positive cycle, which is this diagram here. So I'll zoom in case you can't see it very well. So the start is the belief. Who are you becoming? You intervene at this stage. You intervene at the thoughts and belief stage. So for example, anyone can get good at sales and it just takes a willingness to learn and practice. That is the belief. You then take massive action with these new beliefs. The consistent outreach, the actions you will then take are consistent outreach to book sales calls, and then you're going on the sales calls, willing to ask the difficult questions and handle objections. And because of this belief and because of the action is the reality where you're going to close more deals because you're doing the script, you're handling the objections, you're going in more confidently about your product. And that will become closing new clients, and then that will be feedback where, oh, I'm good at sales. So that will grow more into the belief of, oh, I am really good at sales. And then you take better actions to that. And as I said, it's this positive spiral. But you need to catch yourself because this works in reverse as well with negative spirals. If you think you're bad at sales, you go into a sales call all unconfident, you won't close them, and then the feedback loop is, I'm even worse at sales than I thought. And then finally is the standards. So you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. So it's like this. If you're consistent, you'll have this slow upward trajectory. There might be little dips, but it's always going up because it doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter what is going on in the day. You will take the steps towards your dream. Whereas if you oscillate like this, where, for example, fitness, you get to this low point, the pain, and you're like, look yourself in the mirror. I'm like, I'm really out of shape. I need to smash the gym. Then you absolutely smash the gym for 3 months and you get up here, best shape of your life. But now you're comfortable. Oh, I'm in shape now. Like, I can chill a bit, I can eat what I want, I can start drinking, I can slack, I don't need to go to the gym much. And that is where you start going down again. And then you'll have this period where you don't work hard, and then you're back to square one where you're in a really bad shape again. And it's just this cycle of never going anywhere, Whereas actually, if you're consistent, so you've got no clients, so now you might have no clients. You might push for a month, really push while you're in pain, and then you'll get to comfort, get one client, but then at some point you're going to start declining because you're not putting the work. So that is why you have to set standards you will never breach. It's better to be consistent, like slow and consistent, than this up down. And I've heard on Chris Williamson's podcast, Modern Wisdom, consistency won't guarantee success, but not being consistent will guarantee that you won't be successful, I should say. So my standards: I train 4 times a week, I run twice a week, I track my outreach metrics, I do my gratitude journal, I read my Joe version 3 document, and that will be in the description. This is a document I read every morning, which has the affirmations, who I want to become, my journey. I can quickly show you now. And this you can create your own. So it has my aspirational people, has things to remember, has my daily ritual, has what lifestyle do I want. So every day I visualize this, and it has what is my legacy today. What have I done? I went from literally a plasterer down here, lost at uni, plasterer, to then earning. This needs updating, but then to earning and managing a agency. And what is the story continue? What is my goal now? And that's 100k a month. I've got my manifesto, I've got everything about my life in the future, I've got my goals for 2025, I've got my routine, and then I've got all my affirmations. I've got quite a few, but I read them and imagine them every morning. And if you want that document, it is in the description, and then you can obviously create your own. So you have to set your own standards that you won't break, and you have to make them realistic. Obviously you want them ambitious, but you want them something that you do every day or every week without fail. It's better to be consistent than have these little sprints where you just get nowhere because you're up and down. And then you want to make these achievable for 12 months and don't get trapped of just doing the short periods. But that was the mindset. So the key takeaways is you cannot act outside your beliefs. Control your beliefs, and then you will control your future. Consistency is better than motivation, and focus on becoming the person that can achieve your goals, not just the goals themselves. But as I said, you can have access to the exact document, and then you can read that every morning, and that will set you on the way to then implement all the skills I'm about to teach you. So next is, how do you pick a skill to get an online income? So when I was a plasterer, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I just wanted to work online. I just wanted to travel the world, but I didn't think I really had any skill sets, and I didn't, to be honest. But you have to find something you're interested in, and that's what we'll go into now, of how to pick a skill that is good, that you can make money online. So a lot of people tell me I don't have the skills yet that I can sell, but 99% of the time this isn't true. There's something you've done in a job, or something you've just researched on your own, or you're interested in, that you can then use. And if you don't have a skill, or don't want to use a current skill that you have, and there's something else you might have in mind, you want something where you're interested in it, because you can learn enough in 30 days definitely to then sell it online. You have to just get to the point where you can deliver some results. And this can be super niche. If you only want to initially start off with 3 to 10k a month and just travel the world and not work that much, you only need 1 to 5 clients, and there's like billions of people in the world. So this can be ridiculously niche. It could be like, I don't even know, like editing podcasts for people that are interested in cactuses. Sorry, there's a cactus outside my house. But like just random, like literally 5 people in the world. Like 5 people in the world would be obsessed with cacti, and you could edit a podcast about them or something like. Obviously that's not a great example, but like it can be super, super, super niche. It could be starting a marketing agency for like a tiny segment, just anything random that you're really interested in. And that could be enough. You only need 5 clients. And to be honest, a lot of the time, the more you niche down, the more you can charge. And I'll go into that when we pick our niche. But when I was a plasterer, I learned the skill of organic content just by building my own personal brand. I wanted to show people what solo travel is about. So then I built these skills and I also just kept building on them. So I did organic, now I've learned about ads, now I've learned about like client acquisition, creating an offer, building funnels, sales calls, and it's all built off that initial skill which I sold. And there's so much information online like this that you can learn, but you can pick copywriting or something like that, and there's free course online where you can just learn. And the key is to pick something you're interested in and solve a problem someone might have. And the bigger the problem you solve and quicker, the more you get paid. So don't let the beliefs limit you. Obviously, if you can lean on current skills and abilities that you have, this will speed up the process. However, you'll learn the quickest and be willing to stick at something if you're genuinely interested in it. Like, the goal of this is to get rid of the job that you don't like. You don't want to just travel the world and end up with another job you don't like. Obviously, it's a slightly better situation, but the goal is to have something you're interested in and then still be able to travel the world. And the best skill is to learn one that you'll stick with. So I was always better at maths and business than English and creative subjects. And I got told that I'm more of a finance guy than marketing. But I didn't like finance and I preferred marketing. And that is what allowed me to get better, because I then worked 10 times harder than I ever would at finance. So it doesn't have to be something you're currently doing or what you did at uni. It can be anything that you're interested in. So moral of the story, pick what you enjoy. And these are the questions you want to ask yourself. Does the skill solve a problem for them? Like, you need to be able to sell something, and when you're selling something, it has to solve a problem. But that is so broad. You might think a lot of skills don't solve a problem, but they do. So an accountant I know, he works online, he lives in Bali and Marbella. He solves a problem of people not having the time or knowledge to do their own tax forms, and he saves them money in tax and people are willing to pay. Content creators, they solve the problem of boredom for consumers, and they also get attention and sales for businesses. So there's so many different jobs where you can kind of go through them, and a lot of time you're saving someone money, you're saving them time, you're saving them learning the knowledge to actually develop it. The next one is, are you genuinely interested in learning the skill, at least for the next couple of years? Because the more you're interested in it, the quicker you'll learn it, the deeper knowledge you'll get, and then obviously the better you'll be able to sell it. And can the skill, or enough of the skill, be learned in a few months? For example, if you wanted to be like an online therapist or online doctor or something like that, you're going to be waiting 10 plus years. Whereas if you wanted to be content creator or run organic social media, that can be learned, or at least a start can be learned in a few months if you're willing to put in the work early on. So yeah, as I said, decent copywriter can be learned in a few months, and then you can sell the service and then continue to improve after. So here's a lot of examples of online jobs. I won't go through them, but here are the key takeaways. And the reason I'm not going to go through them is because in the description, there's 300 plus jobs in different sections. I've all done it in different sections, different industries. So you can look for an industry which suits you, and then there's 20 jobs per different industry. And obviously there's thousands more. These are the 300 that I've seen a lot in places like Bali of people working online. But you can go through that and get some ideas of what might suit you. But yeah, pick a skill you're interested in learning. Ensure the skill solves a problem for someone who can pay, and don't overthink it. So you want to make sure they can pay. Something, so for students, it's not a great skill to sell to them, but we'll go more into that in the niche section. But yeah, if you're interested in picking a skill, I've got 300 skills or businesses in the description. So picking a niche. So when I first started a marketing agency, I was kind of a jack of all trades. I'd take any client on, I'd help anyone. But this is where I ran into problems. So why do you actually need to pick a niche? So many people think if you pick a niche, you're limiting your market. If you can help any business or any person, you've got a massive market, which is true. But then there's a saying, a jack of all trades and a master of none. And that's what you become. You become someone that can slightly help everyone rather than change the life of a couple of people. And by picking one niche, you can grow to understand them better. You understand their pain points and dream outcomes better. Therefore, You can create a better pitch and offer to them. It's not this broad offer. You know exactly what their pain points are. You know exactly what their dream outcome is. So in the offer and in the pitch, you can mention this, and then they're like, wow, this product is designed for me. This is perfect for me. And that increases your appointment booking rate and also your close rate. You can close them easier on sales calls because you know their pain points. You know how they speak. You know what their problems they're facing in their life. If it's a business, they might not have time because they've got a family, and you know that because you know your niche. So the more you delve into the niche, the deeper your understanding, the deeper problem you can solve, and then the more you can charge for it. And you know how to solve the problems as the same problems keep popping up. When I had different clients in different industries, it's just chaos. There's just problems that you don't know about. It's creating content in loads of different industries where you don't know how to connect with their consumer. And you're just getting these random problems. Whereas if you pick one niche, after a year, 2 years, you've probably dealt with every problem that can come up. The same stuff will keep coming up, and that saves you a lot of time and also retention. Like, it helps you keep the client on. You save time and energy because with a niche, you only need one offer, one call to action, one contract, one website, one Calendly link, one outreach script, one Loon script, one email account, one sales script, one set of systems, one price, one Stripe link, and one onboarding process. Now imagine if you had 10 niches. It would be carnage. You need 10 of all these, and even more probably, because there'll be little intricacies within each niche. So you just spend all your time with different products because you need different products to deal with the different niches as well. It would honestly, and through my experience, it does cause chaos. You can't have a business you can actually scale. And the whole goal is we want to travel the world. We want an online income, so we have that freedom. And even earning 3 to 10k a month with random niches, it takes up a lot of your time. Whereas if you can pick a niche, do 3 to 10k a month, like with my clients, I don't spend more than 10, 15 hours per week actually managing them. Pricing. As I mentioned before, the bigger the problem and quicker you can solve it, the more you can charge. And the deeper you go into one niche's problems, you can solve a bigger problem in a more efficient manner, and you'll then be able to charge them a lot more. And then that's a lot better than just surface level problems for different niches. A man that chases 2 rabbits catches neither. So you may think that a bigger market and the wider you cast your net, the more success you'll have. But you want an efficient business you can enjoy. You don't need 5 billion people to target. As I show here, you need 50 clients at 2k a month and you'll get 1.2 mil a year. And pretty much every niche in the world will have 50 people. And you don't need all this massive audience because then you don't know who to target. So that's why you need a niche. But how do you select one? How do you pick a niche? So the best niche is the one you'll stick to. So for me, I went health and wellness because I enjoy it. I find it interesting. I love biohacking. I love ice bath saunas. So naturally, I wanted to learn more. And every time you switch a niche, you go back to zero. Obviously, if you really don't enjoy it, you can switch. But you don't want to get caught with shiny object syndrome, both in your product and your niche. A lot of people will be like, start a marketing agency, and they're like, oh, drop shipping, that's now the big thing. Every time you start something new, you start from zero. You just need to build the knowledge. And if you answer these questions and you want all these to be yes, and then you want at least like 70-75% of these ones to be yes, and then it means you've got a good niche. So, does the niche need the product or service you are selling? Because if they don't, you can't sell it. Like dentistry niche probably doesn't need podcast editors, or might do very rarely, but like it wouldn't be a big market. Is the niche a growing market? You don't want to be working in like the newspaper industry or for someone like Blockbusters where Netflix is taking over, because it's a declining industry and you're just fighting against the tide. Does the niche have capital to invest in high ticket products? For example, uni students don't have a lot of money. You want to be selling high ticket. It is a lot easier You don't have to, but in my experience, it is a lot easier. And then you only need to handle 1 to 2 clients to get that 3K per month. So all of those need to be a yes. Then most of these need to be a yes. You can have some where there is a way around it. So do you have an interest in the niche? That's self-explanatory. Are there tens of thousands of people in the niche? Because you will be sending a lot of outreach. So is there thousands and thousands, around like 30, 40,000 people in the niche at least to outreach to? Does a niche have limited variables? So you want a niche where it's similar problems, like one product, one offer, one funnel. You don't want to cause this chaos. Can you easily find and contact the niche? And this is kind of linked. Is it easy to directly contact the decision maker? For example, someone like dentists have a receptionist who will filter through all their outreach, so it'll be a lot harder to contact them. So you want them to be easy to contact, essentially. Do you have some understanding of the niche, or could you learn this? So for me, I had some knowledge of health and wellness in terms of I've used the products. Would I say I was an expert when I started? No, not at all. But I was willing to learn it because I was interested in it. And finally, does your niche use social media? This obviously helps when you're focusing more on inbound, and you could do a lot, some outbound with it, depending on your niche. So for example, if you're an online PT, you probably do a lot of outbound through DMs. But yeah, do they use social media? Because this can help. But that's most people, really. Now that you've answered the questions and learned about your niche, you want to understand them. What are their pain points? What are their dream outcomes? Then this knowledge will compound over time, and you want to speed up this process, mainly through sales calls. And you want to record these. I'll show you later on, but you want to record these and then answer the questions of understanding their pain points, dream outcomes, what do they keep mentioning, why did they come on the call, what problems are they dealing with. And this really speed runs like understanding your niche. For example, like me, I've done a lot of calls in the health and wellness industry. I know their pain points, the same ones keep cropping up. I know their dream outcomes, they keep cropping up. So that now with my offer, when I'm trying to close them with my pitch, I can use that against them essentially. And also there's some community group, Facebook groups, etc. So the deeper you know your niche, the more money you can earn, and also the easier business to run. So the best niche is the one you stick to. Keep learning about your niche, and client avatar document is in the description. So answer all the questions in that document. It will tell you, I think it's around 20, 30 questions where you really write about their life, their business, their interest, who they are, and then you can use that in the pitch later on. But yeah, that was picking a niche. So next up, how do you create an offer which will interest your clients and get them on the sales call? And this is what most people struggle with. They just don't know how to create a good offer. They expect their clients to take all the risks. They'll have these massive retainers, and they don't even guarantee any results. They don't say we can help you at all really with the results. It's just, oh, we can help with the service, but maybe not the results. And it doesn't work well. So this is the most important part of the whole system. Maybe after the mindset, in terms of skill set, this is the most important. Because if you create a good offer, this makes the whole acquisition system like 100 times easier. And the offer consists of the promise that you give, how you'll do that, reversing the risk, and the scenarios that could happen to them. So the promise, let's start with the promise that you give. You want to focus on the result. And obviously, if you understand your niche, you'll know what result they want. So what is the dream outcome of your particular niche? So for example, getting them 30k sales calls per month, getting them in the best shape of their life if you're a PT, increasing the business efficiency by 30% with AI automation. Here are just some examples. And it is important you don't just copy mine, because mine is for my niche. I understand my niche. It won't work for your niche because you need to know your product, your niche, and actually their pain points, because it won't resonate with them. So my example is, we legally guarantee to add 10k per month No, we legally guarantee to add 10k in new monthly revenue for your health and wellness business in 90 days with our no profit, no fee and legally binding guarantee. The best part is no monthly retainer. We only take commission when you're in profit. So how much better does that sound than, yeah, we can help your health and wellness business industry with agency with a bit of paid ads. Do you know what I mean? It's putting our skin in the game. So the action step is create your own promise based on the service you provide and the dream result of your niche. Make big promises on a paying result basis can be scary at the start. And if you can't provide the result you're saying, make your product better. You don't want to provide a bad result or a result they don't want, because otherwise they won't come on board. So you have to make your product better. So at the start it might not be as big as 5 years down the line. Like for me, I might be able to offer 100k in new monthly revenue. But to start with, it still needs to be desirable. And if you can't hit that desirable result, you need to improve your product and learn more. Next is the strategy. This section should be concise, just 1 or 2 paragraphs. How do you achieve the outcome you just said? And you want to keep this quite high level. So for me, it's just custom offer analysis, market analysis, deep knowledge, expert ads manager, profitable creatives, efficient ad system, and you can read the rest. But you don't want it super detailed. You don't want them to get stuck in like the detail of it. You want it to be pretty, just focus on what moves the needle and what provides the value. And at the start, this might only be a couple of things, but obviously the more you learn, the more you can add to it. But even then, you don't want to make it really, really big. Obviously, there's a lot more that goes into my agency than just this, but this is the stuff that's important to my client. The guarantee. This is where you build confidence for the prospect in your offer. How are you guaranteeing their dream outcome comes through, and how are you removing the risk? So my example is, we work on a no monthly retainer basis. We only take commission on the profit you make. So they can't lose. I only make money on the profit. And the legally binding guarantee is, if we don't reach 10k in revenue within 90 days, we'll continue working with you for free until we do. You'll only pay commission once we surpass this 10k revenue mark. So a good one is, if you're scared that you can't provide the result, a good one is, we'll work with you for free until we do, because then you don't have to give refunds. You just might have to work for free for a bit, but at the start that's fine. And if you get the result, then you get paid. So the guarantee is often the final piece of confidence that will get the prospect on the call and get them to pay for your service. Early on in your business, I recommend saying we'll achieve X result within Y months. If we don't, we'll keep working with you until we do. This allows you to provide a guarantee without a risk of a refund for your client, and buys you more time to provide the result. And then finally, you want to frame it as a win-win and that they literally can't lose. So you want it so it's their dream outcome, and otherwise they don't lose anything. So my example, you can either let us implement our proven ad systems to add at least 10k a month in new revenue within 90 days with absolutely no risk, and after the initial 90 days, we'll continue scaling your profits. Or if we don't reach the 10k within 90 days, you only pay commission on the profits you make. We will then continue to work with you for free until you hit the 10k in new monthly recurring revenue, only taking commission once we surpass the 10k. So the worst case scenario, if you make a loss, we'll refund you the difference, so you'll lose nothing. So the worst case scenario for them is they lose nothing. And that's how you really want to frame it, and it is true. So action step, frame the win-win scenario. Your prospect will either get a dream outcome, or for example, you'll work with them for free until they do. So that is how to create an absolute power offer. And all the sales calls I come on, they always we absolutely love your offer, and that is why we're on the sales call, because other people expect us to take the risk, whereas I'm putting my head on the line, I'm putting skin in the game, and they realize that. I'm saying, unless I make you profit, my agency don't run, I don't make money. So it builds that confidence straight away. So the key takeaways are, don't lower your offer to your skill set, improve your skill set to your offer. Make sure to reverse a risk. You'll find it much harder to get clients if you don't reverse a risk. There's so many people offering bad offers out there. And this could be for PTs or anything. You say, if I don't get you in the best shape in your life, send me a photo of your best shape of your life. If I don't get you better than this and you follow all my steps, I'll refund you. And you will. If they follow the steps, obviously you can put that clause in it. Like for us, they have to be willing to put in the money that we say they need to put in. Obviously, we only do that with profitable ads. But obviously, if they're putting in 500 quid, we ain't going to make them 10k. But we still offer that guarantee. And if you want the full offer creation template, that is also in the description for free, as usual. Everything in the description for free, so you have the whole process of how to do this. So next up is client acquisition. How do you get clients through the door? What is the outreach system? How do you go from having this offer, this product, to actually reaching out to your niche and getting them on a sales call? Client acquisition is simply the process of getting clients. These are both inbound and outbound. So inbound is attracting prospects to reach out to you. So you could do that content, ads, SEO through your website. Outbound is reaching out to prospects. So that's cold email or cold calling. And obviously there's more. That was just like obviously cold DMing, anything like that. So if you're starting out and want the quickest way to get clients, that will be through outbound. Inbound is good, but a lot of the time it can take 3, 6, 12 months to actually start reaping the rewards of stuff like your content or your SEO. So today we're going to focus on the outbound because you're at 0 and you want to get to that 3k a month. So what you need is a power offer. So we created that earlier. A niche, we went through your niche earlier. A cold outreach script, a lead sourcing system, a sending system, and outsourcing system, which is an option. So the power offer you created earlier as well as your niche. So first off, you need to know the best way to contact your niche. Is it cold calling, emails, Instagram DMs, LinkedIn, community groups, in-person events? A lot of B2B will be email or potentially LinkedIn. Let's say you're an online PT, DMs is usually quite good, and inbound actually works quite well there. So as I said, B2B, emails or LinkedIn, and then B2C, it can be social media a lot of the time. But let's say you're doing PT for CEOs, then LinkedIn and email could be a good option. So what do you need for each of these? So you've got lead sourcing. You need to find your leads in the niche. You need to find their contact details, you need to extract those contact details, and you need to store them. Then you record the loom. You use your power offer, you have a loom script, you record the loom, and then you store the loom for sending. And then you've got the actual sending. So you have your cold outreach script, you then put the loom in there, you have a method of sending it, which is either the email, DM, whatever that is, or cold calling, and then you track the emails sent and also do the follow-ups. So we're actually not going to start on lead sourcing, we're going to start on how to build the script. So this script is what is booking me 30 sales per month at the moment, and I'm only sending out 100 emails per day. So when sending out emails en masse, it's important to know that deliverability is very important. So for example, like with your emails, you don't want to be landing in spam. But if I created on the video about that, it will take hours and hours. I can do one in the future, but there's a lot of stuff online where you can look at deliverability. But basically, you don't want to appear suspicious. You don't want to be in like Bali one moment and then turn on your VPN and then suddenly you're in the UK sending emails. You don't want to be sending hundreds of emails an hour because it looks spammy, it looks botty. You don't want to be getting a lot of bounces because emails are meant to just be emailing your team, so you've got those emails. So as soon as an email bounces, it flags as slightly, oh, why is he emailing someone he doesn't know? Why is he doing cold outreach? So how to build a script. So this is my exact email system, but I'll show you the template. So hi, first name, I hope you're having a great day so far. So all of this can be changed. You don't want to copy it completely, but you want to keep the framework. You know your niche best, so If it's CEOs, you'll probably want to be a lot more professional. If it's young 20-year-olds, you might want to be a bit more matey and a bit less professional with how you word it. So complement the business or person. So for me, it's just, I love the look and results of X business. You guys really look the part. My team have taken a look at your state your niche, health and wellness business, and we are very confident that we can help you state your promise. So we're very confident we can help you increase your monthly recurring revenue by at least $10,000 in 90 days. And then state your guarantee. So for me, it's the best part is if we don't deliver, you don't pay. We work on a 100% pay on results basis. If we don't get results, you don't get paid. We don't get paid. And then you kind of want to do a little section where you state that I am a human, I'm sending you this loom, I'm not like everyone else who's in your emails. And then you send the loom, and we'll get onto the loom script later, but you want to put that in here with the photo. We've already helped share some testimonials here, mine confidential, but yeah, there's some testimonials there. So what are previous results you've got? Obviously, if you don't have any results, you can't put them in yet. But that's fine because you do have the guarantee and you've got paying results, so that will help you get your first few clients. I would love the opportunity to learn more about your business, your challenges and the goals to see if we are a good fit. Would you be interested in having a call this week so we can discuss? Thanks, Joe. P.S. When I say paying results, I really mean it. No profit equals no money out of your pocket. So, if you've done the previous steps of writing your niche, promise, guarantee, this should be very easy. And you want to tailor it, as I said, to your niche and your product, but that's a really good framework to have. The loom script. So I found, even before I started this system, when I was doing it myself, I didn't learn much at the start. I was still doing loom and it still worked really well for me. Because a lot of people are just lazy. They'll just not personalize anything. So as soon as you do loom, it shows you've put in some effort. But mine are actually pre-recorded. And then I get a VA to have their website on screen, pretend that I'm talking over it. So they're slightly personalized, but it means I don't have to be part of any of the email system. So we'll go through the loom template. And again, do not just copy it. You want it to be about your niche, their pains, their dream outcome. Otherwise, it won't resonate with them. So, hi, it's Joe Martin here. I hope you're well. I apologise for not having my camera on. So I mentioned that because obviously I'm not recording it. But to start with, I don't think you need to pre-record it. If you're early on your days, you need 1 or 2 clients, I'd actually film yourself and have the loom video on. So I just say, I hope you're well. I just wanted to reach out and record this quick video for you for 2 reasons. So the first reason is just to show that I'm sending this over to you, one human to another. Personally, we just like screen on everything. So if you're actually filming them, you can get rid of this. But for me, I just want to build the idea that I am recording this. The second reason is to actually introduce you to an opportunity, one that I think could be very profitable for your business. Over the past few years, I've successfully, scaled different multiple health and wellness businesses such as, but if you're a personal trainer, like got 100 busy professionals in the best shape of their life. For example, we helped John get his first set of 6-pack at the age of 40, or whatever that is. Just a few headline results. To be honest, we've now got the system down to a fine art, and what we're looking to do is introduce the same systems that have helped us systemize their growth to other busy professionals like yourself. I'll roll with the PT example. And what we're looking to do is do that on a complete paying results basis, which is pretty cool because we guarantee that you will get in the best shape of your life. You can send us a photo of you in the best shape of your life, and if we do not improve on that and you take all our steps, we will give you your money back. But to be honest, most of our clients easily surpass their previous best shape of their life. We are. The best part is if we don't deliver, you don't pay. So it's really exciting, it works really well, and honestly, 9 times out of 10, when people receive these videos from us, they do respond positively, A, because of the personal touch, but B, because the offer is pretty ridiculous. So what this is a lot of psychology where people love to live up to expectations, one, and people love to follow the herd. So you're saying a lot of people respond to this. So you should too. Like, don't get left behind. You don't want to get the FOMO. So that's why that's in there. It's kind of crazy. It works really well. So if you're open to new ways of getting the best shape of your life without compromising on your weekend drinking or whatever it is, that's not a great one, but like your week, without compromising on your takeaway every Saturday night, this could be an amazing fit for you. So I've sent this one over to you personally. When you respond, I'll personally reply. But let's get a call booked in because I think this could be amazing for you and I'm really, really excited to be in touch. So yeah, I'll look forward to hearing back from you. No doubt you'll reply. That's another psychological trick of, yeah, no doubt you'll reply. Live up to my expectation. So yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Have an amazing day. So the action step is write your own email and Loom script, which is specific to your niche product and offer. What wording or phrases would your niche use? You wouldn't talk to a CEO the same way you talk to a 20-year-old in Instagram DMs. And you also want to do the Loom script in your own words. Otherwise, it won't sound like you. So you want to change some of the words. Like you might not use, oh, pretty cool. You might use different wording. So you want to fit it to you. But yeah, this will be in the description as well, the templates for this, so you can edit yourself and create your own. So now onto the lead sourcing system. So a lead sourcing system is where you find the prospects from your niche and find the details for you to contact them. So that could be email, phone number, or social media account often. So if you're a PT, you might be looking for busy CEOs who want to get in shape. So something like LinkedIn could be a good place to find them. Like for me, health and wellness industry, Google is a good place. We can just use search terms, see what comes up. But also LinkedIn can be very good as well. And there's a few ways of doing this. You can pair lead sourcer on Fiverr, a lot of them from places like Bangladesh, and they'll send you a lot of leads, like to match your niche. But these a lot of people might be doing that, so these leads might be used a lot. They might be getting spammed with so many emails, so it might not be the best approach. You could use a system like snov.io or hunter.io, which can find you the leads en masse, where they can find hundreds at a time. You copy them into the CRM and then you're done with them. But again, there'll be ones that will be used quite a bit. Or you can manually find them with yourself or a VA. I manually find them, and that is the most complicated, which is why I'm going to explain that today. The first two are pretty simple. You just need to know your niche, your prospect, and then you can either go on Fiverr or these different platforms where you can then find them. So the first two options, yeah, self-explanatory. So we're going to go over the manual. And the higher quality the leads are, the more likely you're going to get a good fit prospect who you can close and then become a good client. So you want the correct contact details, and they want to be able to pay for your niche, able to pay for your product, and also be a good fit for your product, i.e. have the pain that you're solving. So you want to know where you can find your leads, where you can extract their contact details and actually get in the data. So where can you find your leads? For me, B2B, this is through a Google search to find the websites of the businesses in my niche. And then from there, I actually find the CEOs from the website and then contact them, or the founders. But LinkedIn is another method I could use personally. Online coaches for CEOs could be LinkedIn. Online coaches for like regular people could be Instagram. Where can you extract their contact details? So where you find them is massively up to your niche. But if you do the avatar, you'll understand how their week works. Do they spend time on social media? So then you'll understand where to reach out to them. Where can you extract their contact details? So download snov.io and hunter.io's Chrome extensions. There's a few other ones as well you can use, but these are the two that I use. And when you go on the prospect's website, click on the Chrome extension, it will come up with all their employees and all the emails of their employees most of the time. Obviously, it doesn't work 100% of the time. And here's the exact step-by-step process, SOP, to find their emails. So I'll quickly go through this. It is very long. So attempt one is snov.io, and this I can put in the description so you can read the SOP in your own time. But essentially, we go on their website, click on the Chrome extension up here, snov.io, and it will come up with all their emails and all the prospects, all the employees within that company. So if you're looking for the founder, which often you are, is what we look for, I then go and find the owner's full name, put that in the CRM, the owner's full email, put that in the CRM, and also the website in the CRM. So if that works, I can also find their LinkedIn and phone occasionally through snov.io. Mainly their LinkedIn, phone is pretty rare. So straight away, if that works, all the details are in there. If that does not work, we try hunter.io with the same process to see if that works. If that doesn't work, we then go on Google to type in company name. So you can Nike owner. Who is the owner of Nike? And you'll find that. And then you want to search all these different terms with the owner's name to try and find their email. And then you can Control F to search for specific words. So search for @ and then it will come up with all their different emails. But this is like, you can look at this in the description. It's the basics, step-by-step process so you can really understand. If that doesn't work, you can look on their website. A lot of the time on like their privacy policy or down the bottom of the page or in like the about page, it might have the founder's email as well. So you can search in there. And the final option is the email permutator. So this will be their domain, which will be like their email. So obviously Nike might be @nike.com. So if I work for Nike, my email might be joe@nike.com. So in the email permutator, you put in their first name, so like Joe, second name Martin, company domain, which will be nike.com, and then this will come up with the common different options. So it'll be like jmartin@nike.com, joemartin@nike.com, joem@nike.com, joe@nike.com. All the different permutations of what an email normally is. And then you can either put it in the to when you send an email, the to system, or you can put it in a system called zero bounce. So what zero bounce does is check the emails. So if you put 25 of like email permutations, next to one of them it might say verified. So that means it is the correct email. So it's a really good method for finding different emails. But even if you find them on snov.io, you want to put that email through zero bounce. You want to make sure every email you send out has been through zero bounce first. Because as I said earlier, if an email bounces, it really affects your email deliverability. You want to keep that below 5-10% with the amount of email bounces. So if you put it through zero bounce, it will say if it's verified, or if it will say it's not verified, do not email. And that means they're not sure that that is an actual email. So they think it will bounce. So you don't want to risk it. So now you know how to get the leads. You've got your email script and Loon script. How do you send them out? And obviously email deliverability is important, but you might be sending through DMs. But the key is to stay consistent and always track your data. Set the number of emails you want to send per day and stick to it every single day, Monday to Friday. Otherwise, there's this delay where if you start outreach for a month and then you're like, shit, I need more clients, then you'll start outreach again, but there's a delay because you'll send those emails, then you have to follow up with them, and then they might book an appointment, then there's sales call, and then they pay, and before you know it, it's 2-3 months later and you've not had clients for this time. Whereas even when you've got clients, you want to keep it ticking along. And again, the main thing is track your data. You cannot make adjustments, otherwise you're just going blind with your offer, with your script, with your Loom system. Without the data, you don't know what the problem is. So make sure you track how many emails you sent, how many Looms got viewed, how many positive replies you got. And a positive reply is basically anything that doesn't say no. If someone says, I'll think about it, that's positive. If someone says, how much do you cost? That's positive. And also track the amount of calls that got booked. And then you want to also track, did you close the call? So this allows you to track everything that has gone wrong. So say that you're not getting Loom views. So you're not getting many Loom views. So you normally want a Loom view rate of around 15% minimum, but it does change. Like, you can still do it with 10%. And the main thing is the amount of calls you're getting booked. If you're happy with the amount of calls you're getting booked, like for me, it's 30 a month. I want to get that up. But my problem is my Looms aren't being viewed. So if your Looms aren't being viewed, obviously I'm getting some Loom views. I'm not as high as I want. If your Looms aren't getting viewed, changing your Loom script will make no difference because they're not getting viewed. It doesn't matter. The main thing is the email script and the email deliverability. So if you change the subject line or the email script and the deliverability, that will change the Loom views, because that is like, it's like a process. It's like a funnel. So first is the email deliverability, then it's the subject line. So did they get the email? Did they see the subject line? Did they click onto the email? Did they read the script? So all of that is before did they click on the Loom. And then you have the problem of the Loom script. But before then, it is all that top level stuff. So you want to be tracking everything to make sure you're affecting you're changing the right thing. And when you change it, you have to look at it like a science test when you were back in school. One thing at a time, keep everything else constant. Because otherwise, if you change 5 things and it improves, you don't know what improved it. Or if it got worse, you don't know what made it worse. Follow-ups. So you want to be following up. This is why you want to track all your emails as well. Who have you sent the emails to? What date did you send them to? So you want to follow up 3 times. And that's on cold prospects. So they're people that haven't responded yet. And you do this every 2 days, Monday to Friday. And this can be simple. It's just, hey, what did you think of the video? Or, hi, did you get a chance to watch the video? Hi, what did you think of the video? And you just do that 3 times. So every two days. So if you did it on a Monday, then you do Wednesday, Friday, then you do Tuesday. You don't class the weekend as a day. So it's every 2 days, business days. But let's say you get a reply. Let's say they're now a warm lead because they've replied. If someone says no or unsubscribe, note this in the CRM so you don't follow up with them. Otherwise, they might just report you as spam. If they do reply, asking a question, you want to just get them on the call. You don't particularly want to answer the question, but you also don't want to just bat it off and say book a call. You want to acknowledge the question. So you need to remember that curiosity is one of the main drivers for humans, and it's one of the main drivers you'll get someone on a call. Like, think of Netflix. At the end of an episode, they'll leave it on a cliffhanger. And the reason you watch the next episode is because you're curious. It's driving you mad inside about what happens. And that is what forces you to click on the next episode. So you have to create that with the sales. You've basically told them, I can get your dream result, but you're not really telling them why. You're being vague. You've helped them out a bit. You're being vague. And they're like, this person can get my dream result. How? And you want to do that on the call, because that's where you can provide the value and then you can close them. So the main questions you'll get asked are, what is the price? How does your system work? And do you have testimonials to back it up? The key thing is to acknowledge that it's a good question. You put great question or I'm glad you asked. Then essentially say it'll be easier to answer on a call and you'd be happy to go into detail on a call. If they don't take that as an answer, say they need to know the answer before booking a call and tell them otherwise you will just piss them off. So if they say, no, I need to know the price, you tell them once that they need to get on a call. And if they say, no, I'm not going on a call unless you tell me the price, you just have to tell them then, because otherwise you're just going to wind them up and then they're not going to go on a call anyway. So all of these examples will be in the description as well as the email and Loom script, but I'll quickly go through them. So price, great. I'm glad you asked. No point in just chatting if it's beyond your budget. I definitely don't want to waste your time. That said, we have the perfect structure with our pricing, with your budget, with budgets in mind, and you will get the value. But as I said, you can read through this yourself. You basically say, I don't want to dodge your question, but I can tell you more on the call. So all of these are just ones you can pretty much copy and paste, maybe change slightly. And it's all about just getting them on the call. But as I said, the link in the description will have all of this on for you to copy. Then, if you answer with one of these and then they don't reply, you want to follow up with these 8 times. Warn people, they've replied, they're interested. You want to keep message them every 2 days. That could be across email, LinkedIn, WhatsApp if you've got it. These have showed some interest, so you want to keep following up until basically they say yes or no. But you do that 8 times. They've shown interest and your service can genuinely help them. So it's in their best interest to book a call. If your service can genuinely help these people, it's your moral obligation to get them on a call. Like these health and wellness businesses, I can generate them more revenue. So I need to get them on a call. Like it's in their best interest. And that is the mindset you need to have. And that is why you're following up. And don't get in the mindset of like a limiting belief of people don't reply after it's going to piss them off. A lot of my bookings are after like 5-6 follow-ups. And it's just, they appreciate the consistency and that you really want them on a call. And then when you get on a call, you show them value and that you can help them. And when you follow up, pretty simple again. Hey, first name, can't wait to chat. Open a few slots up for you, Calendly link. And obviously you want to change it every time so it doesn't look like a robot. And finally, outsourcing. So my whole system is outsourced now because obviously I'm earning income through my agency, so I have the funds to do this. I've got a lead sourcer, I've got a Loom recorder, and I've also got an email sender. So all I take is the sales calls and I do the warm follow-ups and also reply to people if they obviously message back. But I'll go in more into detail on how you can outsource on this document here. But do not outsource the data tracking. This is so important. It literally takes 5 minutes, so make sure you're doing that yourself because that is so important for your business. So key takeaways, track your data, consistently outreach. If you're not making as much money online as you want, which might be why you clicked on this video, the number one thing you can do to change that is outreach. That is the number one thing you can change for your business. High quality leads equals high quality clients. Keep curiosity to get them on the call. And the email, Loom and follow-up template is in the description. So now you've got an email system that is getting you regular appointments booked. But sales is one thing that I massively struggled with at the start because I was an introvert. I just didn't know how to handle it. I'd go on sales calls, I'd let them massively take control, them ask questions to me straight away, not understanding their business or not understanding the process or psychology behind sales. So this is going to be the mindset you need for sales, the fundamentals, the script, and everything you need to start closing clients. So, mindset, and this is so important to handle. Your mindset is one of the main parts that will determine your success in sales. What beliefs do you have about sales? So mine were, sales is for naturally extroverted people. I can't take control of a sales call because I'm introverted. You can't close people in one call. People need time to think on decisions. The prospects won't like me if I ask tough questions. And you need to get rid of these and replace them with a positive mindset. Otherwise, you'll just self-sabotage, not be confident, not ask the difficult questions, and not close people on one call. Like energy transfers on calls, so you need to make sure you're confident, you believe in your product, and you believe you can close them. But you need to change this mindset, and it's something I'm always working on. But sales is for anyone that is willing to learn and practice. I can be the alpha and control the sales call. You can close people in one call, and you can. People can make decisions on the spot. Prospects respect you for hearing them out and understanding their problems and trying to handle their objections. And the reason mindset is so important is because people don't have business problems, they have personal problems that reflect in their business. If you're very emotional and make emotional decisions in your life, that will reflect in your business. If you're not confident, if you're massively introverted and can't have that ability or even belief that you can become extroverted for 45 minutes and take control of the call, that will reflect in your business. It is honestly mindset and understanding your personal problems, making the unconscious conscious, will then have the biggest effect on your business. So how does sales work? So what you want to do is understand and get the prospect to understand their current situation. You want them to understand. They're on a call for a reason. Your prospect has come on the call because they have a pain or problem that they think you can solve. That is the only reason they'd come on a call. And with your questioning, you have to make them realize the weight of the problem or the pain that they have. And these pains might seem small on surface level, but often they're a lot deeper than they first seem. And you can make them really understand this pain with your questioning. They might be poor, they might be unfit, they might be unhappy, they might be stressed, they might be busy. And you don't want to tell them that. You want to ask questions where they realize that, and they realize, wow, like the situation I'm in is not good. I'm on a call. Like for me, it might be, yeah, like, why are you on the call? Oh, we're not doing enough marketing. Okay, and how's that affecting your business? Well, we're not really getting revenue. We're not getting enough revenue that we'd like. Okay, and how is that affecting you and the business? Well, actually, like if we don't get enough revenue in the next 6 months, we'll have to close down our business. And we spent our entire life savings to build this business. So it's really having a strain on our personal life. Like you can see how these like initial thoughts then have this massive like iceberg under the doubts and the problems that people face in their life. And you want to put them in this pain through your questioning. And that might seem harsh, but you can help them. You're the one that can take them out of this pain with your solution, with your product. So yeah, it might cause a bit of short-term pain, but in the long term, you are going to help them. And the only way to get them to close it is by doing this. So you need to make them understand that things can be different. So then you want to paint the dream outcome and where the pain is gone. And then you want to really flesh this out and get them to almost live in that moment of, I'm in this dream scenario. So that could be, they'll be rich, they're fit, they're happy, they're relaxed, they've got this freedom, they're in this dream outcome now, that you've made them believe it. How will it affect your business if I can add 20k per month to it? Oh, I could hire people and I wouldn't have to do all the stressful jobs. I can focus on what I enjoy. And then it won't affect my family life as much, so I can spend time with them. Then you flesh this out, and that actually causes more pain, which sounds horrible, but it causes more pain because they now know where they aren't. They've got their current situation, and they now know how good it can be. And then that is where you position your product or service as the bridge that can solve their problem and take them to that dream outcome. So these are the fundamentals. The first one was creating the pain. The second is being the alpha. You have to control the sales call. Not in a nasty way, but you need to be the one asking the questions to start with. Unless you do the line of questioning I will provide, the prospect will not buy. They need to realize their situation and they need to realize their dream outcome. Otherwise, people purchase through pain. Otherwise, they're not going to the purchase because they don't know the pain they're in. They don't know how you can solve it. It just won't work. And the way you can do this is by setting the agenda at the start of the call and then going straight into the questions. Then you just want to say, okay, ask the next question. Silence. Silence is so important on a sales call. You ask the question, then shut up. Let them speak. You want them to put them in that pain. You want them to talk through the question, like answer. You don't want to be butting in. You don't want to be like, they're like, I'm in this pain, like it's really stressful, I don't know if I'm going to do it. You don't want to be like, it's okay, we can help. Because that relieves the pain. You just have to say, okay, and let them sit in it. And that is why silence is so important. And often, If you ask a question, they give a short little 5-second answer. Sit there for 1, 2, 3 seconds, and they'll often think, oh, that answer wasn't good enough. So they'll spill you more information. You'll be able to understand them better, which you can use later in the call. As I said, after each question, 1 to 2 seconds, then say okay or nice, and then just on to the next question. Same with your pitch and pricing. Say your price and then shut up. Don't try and justify it. Don't try and anything. Shut up, and that's when the objections will come. Sales is a transfer of emotions. If you appear not confident in your product or your pricing, this energy will transfer to the prospect, and that will start to build doubt in them. And if they have doubt, it's game over. Prospect will only purchase from you if they're fully confident in you as a person, but also you to deliver their results. Don't transfer doubt to them. And the main way to do this is being actually able to help them and actually deliver results. Don't tell you can help someone if you can't help them. And then this one helps really relieve the stress of a sales call. Focus on diagnosing them, not selling to them. So at the start, understand that the reason you're asking the questions because you want to know their pain point and you want to know their dream outcome. That you're trying to help them here. And you have to go with that mindset of all you're doing at the start, the first half an hour is really understanding them. Can you actually help them? That's all you're trying to understand. And once you go in with that frame of mind, it will show and create genuine trust rather than this, I need to sell, I don't care what they say, I'm just going to sell to them. You're there to understand what problem they have and if you're a good fit to solve that problem. And if you think you cannot solve that problem, after the line of the question, do not scam them, do not tell them that you can. Obviously, if you've got a guarantee, if you've got fully paying results and you think, I might be able to help them, they're covered. If they've got no risk on their side, that is fine. But don't sell them the dream if you know you can't help them. You have to think like a doctor. When you go to the doctor, they don't start pitching to you the solution. Oh, you need to take paracetamol and you need to start stretching. They ask you questions. They ask what your pain is. They ask how it's affecting your life. They don't go straight in. They diagnose. They just sit there, they listen, they say, okay, and then they ask another question. And how does that impact that? And then at the end, they'll give their opinion or the solution to the problem. So now we have the script. The key is 1, do not avoid the difficult questions. It's scary, I understand, but sales is easy. You're trying to help them. Do not avoid the difficult questions, otherwise you will not get them in the emotional state to sell. And 2, is your niche is your niche. So it will not be exactly the same for everyone. So you have to make sure you're asking questions which are related to you. So here is a sales script. So you start off with micro rapport. So, hey, how are you today? How's your week been so far? Is it okay if I record the call and you use this so you can look back, you can understand your niche better? And then, great, are you ready to jump in and get started? Then you want to set the agenda and take control of the sales call. Okay, what we're going to do today, ask some questions about your business, your goals, and the application you sent through. Then if it sounds like a good fit, I'll explain our system and how that works. Then at the end, you can decide if you want to be a part of it. Does that sound okay? And they'll pretty much always say, yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so what motivated you to get on the call today? So with this, you're kind of delving into their pain point initially. Well, we're struggling with our marketing at the moment. Well, I'm not in the best shape as I used to be. I've fallen off a bit. And then you can ask a few questions like, when you say your marketing is not going very well, what do you exactly mean by that? You really want to understand their pain point. How long does the problem with the marketing been going for? Next, once you've got a primary motive for coming on the call, you want to understand their current situation. And then that is when, once you've got that, you can put them in the pain. But this has to be specific to a niche. So for mine, it's just understanding what they sell, what's their pricing, average order value, what's their ideal customer, just getting a knowledge of where they're at as a business. So it could be what's your current weight, what's your current training like, what you're currently eating, do you know the calories, blah, blah, blah. Like, really understanding them. And then you want to indirectly cause pain. So how are you currently getting customers? Oh, we're doing a bit of organic, we're doing a bit of paid. Do you know how much it costs you to get a new customer? Oh, no, we don't actually. Straight away they feel, oh, I feel like we should know that. So that causes a bit of pain. Or it might be really expensive. Oh, we'd spend £100 per customer and we only sell for 120. Causes pain. Do you have a system or process in place that gets customers on demand? Oh, no, we do. No, we don't. Should we? Are you comfortable how it's going on the growth side? It's okay. Like, we could be doing a lot better. All this is creating the pain, but you're doing it with your questioning. And how much money you're making per month. And this is essential. But for online PTs, it could be like, do you know your current maintenance calories? Oh, no, I don't actually. And then straight away, oh, I probably should know that if I've been trying to bulk or I've been trying to cut. So it's creating questions specific to your niche to kind of indirectly cause that pain. So here they're sitting in the pain, and then you want to build out their future and really paint their future. So what's the goal for the next 12 months? How much money do you want to be making? So it could be, oh, I currently make 5k a month. We want to be making 50k a month by the end of the year. Okay. And what's the motivation behind 50k a month? Well, I really want to build this business. I want to bring my wife on board. And we're a bit stressed with money at the moment. I want that freedom to hire people so I can spend more time with my kids. And how'd the business change? Well, as I said, I'll be able to hire some people. And how's that impact other areas of your life? Well, I feel like I'm missing seeing my kids grow up. So if I'm able to outsource slightly and really grow to that 50k a month, well, then I'll get to spend more time with the family. It's always deeper problems than what the surface seems. And you need the key money indicators, or it could be the key goal for a key current point and goal for PTs, let's say. Prospect admits defeat. So you really want to get one of these problems out of them, like a defeat statement. So you're currently making 5k a month and you want to get to 50k per month. Tell me what's stopping you from doing this on your own. And then they'll either say, I don't have the knowledge, I want to do it faster, or I don't have the time, or I just want a proven system. I don't want to mess about with something that might not work. And they might not say that initially. They might say, oh, I think I can do it by myself. But there's always a reason. They're on the sales call for a reason. So you want to ask questions to then get them to basically do a defeat statement. Then you want to establish the deep emotion behind it. So these are the difficult questions to ask. But as I said, they're so essential. So why not just stay where you're at 5k per month? Well, because as I said, I have a really stressful life at the moment. I'm really struggling, and I just need to get out of this. I need to grow the business. And how's that having an impact on you? And then they'll talk about their personal life. When do you want to fix this problem? Well, I want to fix it as soon as possible. The sooner the better, really. So I understand that you want to fix this now, but what's your level of commitment to making that happen? Well, I'm really committed. If someone came along and they can guarantee me results, I'd jump at the chance, really. Okay. So now they've told it, they've put them in this state of, I want to fix it now. If someone came along who can fix it, I'd jump at the chance. I'm not where I want to be, and I know where I can get to with help. So all that is why the question is so important. You build all this up. And now, here is where you show your confidence. If you cannot help them, tell them that you cannot help them. And I've had to do that on quite a few calls. But if you can, say something like, well, after hearing all that, I'm really, really confident that we can help you with this. Would you like me to explain how? And now they're the one asking the questions. You're kind of asking permission, can I pitch you? And now you want to state your expertise. What you do for your clients and what results do you achieve? You should also have an idea of your dream client so you can tailor this to them. So for me, it'd be, so JMT Media, our area is expertise in helping health and wellness businesses generate more revenue. We achieve this with implementing research and data-driven marketing techniques that reliably drive results. And you want that to sound quite fancy. You don't just want, oh, we run ads. You want it to sound a bit better than that. The ideal health and wellness businesses for us to work with is typically making between X and Y per month, with the goal of getting somewhere between A and B per month. The main problem we help them solve is bringing new customers in. So it does sound like you're a pretty good fit for us. So the X and Y, obviously we do have a target market, but you do want to tailor it. So let's say they said they're currently earning 5k per month. We say, well, we typically work with our clients between 5 and 10k per month, and if their goal is 50k, with a goal of getting them somewhere between 30 and 70k per month. Obviously, you don't want to make it too narrow, but you want to make it seem like a really good fit. Next is pitching your offer. So you can use the methods that you wrote earlier, and you want to keep it quite high level, focus on the result and solving their pain points. For example, if it's very hands-off in your end, if they're busy. So basically come in, automate all your paid marketing, we take care of everything to bring in new customers, and it's very hands-off on your end, pain point of time. We set up all the ads, produce the high converting creatives, and track everything on the back end. Once we have everything set up, we will send it over for approval, then press play to start the system. After that, everything in your business will change. You will then reliably start getting sales through your website every day, with these numbers increasing week by week. We'll provide full transparency and access to all the relevant numbers, so you can check them anytime to see how much money we've made you. After a while, you will have the option to scale. It isn't really a question of if we can generate you sales or not, but really how many sales can you handle? So that line is like, we're confident, we know it's not, will we get you sales? Obviously. But how many sales can you handle? Our goal is to have you focusing on two things. So you can say, have you focusing what you're best at. We do that by freeing up your times with our expertise, essentially. So yeah, that's how it works. It works really well, and I think you'd be the perfect fit for you. And then shut up. Then the questions will start coming. So you'll then have a Q&A. After you've stated your expertise and pitched yourself, there will usually be some questions from the prospect. To answer these, you want to ensure you use these 3 points. So first one is say, great question, glad you asked. And you want to be positive. You want to spin it positively. Then you want to focus on the result and keep it high level. Don't get caught up in the nitty gritty about how you run the ads. Focus on the result. And then make sure you end it with a positive. Always spin it to a positive at the end. And that is why we're able to get our clients such fast results. And that's why you want to make sure to record your calls, because these questions will keep cropping up. These objections will keep cropping up. So then you can practice your answers. You can type out your answers and have it on this sales template in here. Objections, the more ones you have, the more you can understand what they're going to ask, predict it, and get better answers where you spin it better at the end to be positive. So then they'll go on to pricing, and only answer the pricing question when they ask. So great question, this is the best part. Our fee for building and managing this for you is a small setup fee of X with no monthly retainer at all. Then just a commission on profit on the ads of Y%. But this is just the initial order from the customer. You take all the profit from all the repeat purchases, for example. And what we've found over the past few years of doing this is the clients that make the quick decisions are always the best clients for us, and they do get the best results. So for those reasons, if you do make the decision to move forward today on the call, I can lower the percentage from Y to Z and then shut up. And then they'll think about it and they'll be like, And then that's where the objections will come, or more questions. So once they bring up concerns, you need not to just handle the objections, but turn them positively. If they need more time to think about it and they have some doubts, if someone needs to think about it, they have doubts. And if you genuinely can help this prospect to their dream outcome, you need to handle these doubts before they get off the call, because once they get off the call, they just doubt themselves even more. People don't handle their own objections. You have to handle them on the call. And it's better to get a no than it is to get a maybe. You have to be willing to get a no to get a yes. Because if you get a maybe, 99% of the time it is a no. They get off the call, more doubts come in their mind, they don't handle them themselves, and then it's a no. So you have to handle them on the call. And the main thing for sales is practice. The number one thing is the manifesting and the practice. So at the start, you will want to avoid asking the difficult questions, but you have to do this to close the deal. And the more you practice, the more you realize that you either face the pain of asking the difficult questions, or you face the pain of you being in the same scenario and not generating the income you want to because you were too scared to ask the questions. So you have to ask these difficult questions. And the key takeaways: build a strong sales mindset through visualization. Ask all the questions, even the difficult questions. Be confident on your call. Emotions transfer. Watch back your sales calls to improve your delivery, understand your niche better, and create better answers to the questions and objections. And in the description is the full sales script and also how to customize this to your niche. Also, the document that you can fill out after every sales call to improve on your niche as well. So you can fill out all of that, answer your questions better, and also follow this sales script. So I always just have my sales script up and then the Zoom call next to it, so I can go through that step by step, saying okay, asking the question, and ensuring to ask the difficult questions. So that is how you do sales. Obviously, a lot of it is practice. It's something that I'm still working on. I've got a lot better at. But yeah, that is the kind of process where once you crack it, it becomes quite an enjoyable process because it's this win or lose mentality when you're on the call. But yeah, use the script, customize it to your niche, and then yeah, we're going to head over to how to do service delivery now. So now we've learned sales, how do you actually deliver the service? So you've closed the client, they're onboarded, how do you then keep them? And obviously this is very niche dependent, very product dependent. So I can't give you the exact how to deliver your service because you could be an online PT, a copywriter, a therapist, whatever it is. I can't help you directly, but I can give you what I've learned and a more general approach of how I deliver my service, ensure my clients are happy. So the first thing to focus on is retention over selling. So obviously don't ever stop outreaching. As soon as you stop, there'll be a restart delay, i.e. once you restart, a couple of months after, you'll then get your appointment. So there's obviously this delay between your first email, the appointments, the close, bring them on board and collecting the cash. So you don't ever want to stop outreach. But the main thing a lot of people get caught with at the start, and which I got caught with as well, is the revolving door. I get a client, I wouldn't focus as much about the service delivery. I was like, I get so excited bringing the cash in, I'm just sales. And then you end up losing your client. And it ends up as a one in, one out. And it's so easy to get caught in the cycle of collecting cash, sacrifice actually providing a good service. We're just trying to bring in more clients, and it's just not the way to go. It's easier to keep a client than to bring a new client in. And it's often a lot cheaper as well to keep a client than having all these VAs doing the outreach system. You want to keep your clients. And also, once you get good testimonials, it's then easier to bring in clients anyway. So service delivery is really important. 2 is the cream rises to the top. Product is the most important thing in your business. If you could start providing amazing delivery of your result, word will spread in the industry. You'll start to get more and more clients coming to work with you. You'll start getting more inbound, and they're so much easier to sell. So really focus on the service delivery. If you can provide amazing results, you'll get amazing testimonials, they'll spread it word of mouth, and you'll start getting inbound. And it'll just become this really good cycle where you'll just keep building because you've got the best product in the market. Early wins. You want to try and provide your client with an early win and then make sure they know about it. You want to, in the early stages, they're worried about, oh, did I make the right decision coming with you? So you want to get an early win to confirm that of, well, like you made the right decision. So if you post a video and it does well, tell them. If you've increased their revenue in the first week, tell them. Remind them that you're doing a good job and ensure that you are actually doing a good job. But as I said, you want to remind them that they made the right decisions come with you. Finally, get testimonials. Video testimonials are great. Like, if someone is there backing up your service, you can tell them that you can deliver them the world. But when 10, 20, 100 other people are backing your claims, they go into the call with so much confidence and they're just so much likely to purchase your product. So once you've provided a good service, make sure to get a good video testimonial, or it can be a text testimonial. The absolute gold dust, and it'll make your whole sales process 10 times easier, and also you'll start getting the word of mouth and inbound. So that is service delivery. Obviously, it's very niche dependent, but yeah, they're the key points to really focus on. Don't get distracted with just the sales. Understand that treat your clients now well, and you'll reap the rewards later, because that's how you build a business, with retainers and constantly building those retainers. And finally, outsourcing. So why should you outsource? Obviously, the dream for a lot of you will be to travel the world, because it was for me. Traveling the world, I didn't want to work 40-hour weeks. If I could work 5-10 hours a week, that is perfect. And that's what I did last year. I was earning last year like 3 to 5k a month with my agency, working 5 to 10 hours. I had a VA on board, I had a video editor on board, and it meant I could travel to places like Afghanistan and like not worry about constantly having Wi-Fi. And honestly, it's like living the absolute dream, that I was earning the same as I was as a plasterer and even more, and literally working like a tenth of the hours from wherever I wanted in the world. So outsourcing is really, really important. I've actually got 4 team members now, and it helps so much. I don't have to do any of my outreaching, video editing, graphic design, or anything. I just make sure the clients are happy and take the sales calls. So the goal is to have a business that doesn't revolve around you. You want a business that eventually you can leave for a month or 2 and come back to a stronger business. I'm not at the stage where I can fully leave my business, but that's what we're building towards. I have one where I can have days off easily. I don't need to send out the emails. It is, as I said, 4 team members. This allows me to do 5-10 hours max of actual service delivery. The rest of my life I can use how I want. This is a mix of sales calls, content creation, and enjoying traveling. Don't become the bottleneck in your own business. You don't want to be selling your hours. You want to be selling results. Because if you sell your hours, you're going to be stuck in essentially a 9 to 5 again. So where do you outsource? Obviously, this massively depends on the role you're hiring for. If you're looking for a virtual assistant, which is a good place to start, they can run the outreach system for you, and onlinejobs.ph is where I've got all of mine. It's a Filipino job site, and they're really good at English. They're hardworking, they work in your time zone, and they only cost around $3 to $5 per hour if it's just a basic VA role. So what should you look for when outsourcing to a VA? They need good internet, and I check that by getting them to send a screenshot of that before I get them on the interview. A good laptop. A lot of mine for the outreach system, I ask them to have MacBooks. They need a high level of spoken and written English. So I get them to send a 1-minute video before getting on the call, so I know that they can speak English for communicating with me mainly. A strong work history. So you don't want someone that's constantly changing jobs. You want to build a long-term relationship. You don't want to constantly be teaching people how to do the role. Would you enjoy working with them? That's a big point. And would they enjoy working with you? If they don't seem a good fit for your business, I've had people like VAs that were probably better VAs, but they just don't suit that role. They're like really creative and the role is quite monotonous and like sending emails, and actually that is not what would suit them, and I didn't want them to be unhappy in a role. Can I give them more responsibility in the future? Do you trust them? And do they have a learning mindset where they can learn new skills and develop their skills? And do they take initiative? This is a big one. You don't want someone that any problem that pops up constantly comes to you. You want, if it's a small problem, they can take a bit of initiative and solve that, especially once they've been working with you for a while. So how do you outsource successfully? A lot of people outsource and expect the world from them, but don't actually give them the proper training. But you also don't want to spend hours and hours training your VAs. So that's why you want to build SOPs. You want to put your brain on a page. So for me with the email system, I learned it first and then I created SOPs around it. So SOPs are standard operating procedures. So they're step-by-step guides on how to do each specific role correctly. These should be so basic and simple that anyone could understand them, down to the finest details. So it'd literally be like, open Gmail, put in email password, click compose email, copy and paste into, like, it's a bit condescending, but you want to create them so someone can literally, like a 5-year-old could step by step and go through it. You have to put your brain on a page in order to outsource it, otherwise you're going to be the bottleneck in your business. I also create a Loom video where I talk through the steps and actually show the steps. So not only do they see the steps, they actually see me go through the whole process. So if they ever have a question, it's probably in the SOP. So that saves me micromanaging all the VAs. It saves so much time, minimizes the training, and if an employee ever did leave, you don't have to then retrain them. You can send them the SOP, they understand that. If they've got any questions, they can ask you them. The more you keep on top of this, easier it will be to outsource in the future. Do not bottleneck your own business. So you can get to the point where every part of your business is SOP'd, apart from content. Like, there's part of your business, like someone else couldn't come on camera and be my personal brand. But like in terms of my business side, every part of my business side, I could get someone to do the sales, I could get someone to do the client fulfillment, but I just need an SOP for that. You have to relinquish control. It can be hard at the start to give responsibility away in your business, and I understand this, people are perfectionists, but it's so important to grow and actually enjoy your freedom. If someone could do the same job as you and it's affordable and frees up your time to actually grow the business in the needle moving tasks, why wouldn't you do it? You just, like, unless you absolutely love that task, it's really important that you can outsource and grow from there. It's why the hiring stage is so important. You need to hire someone you can trust. And in the early stages, you do have to be there for them. You do have to answer their questions, watch their work like a hawk, especially in the email system, to ensure they're doing it all correct. But once you've worked with them for a while, I've got VAs where I really trust them. I can send them slightly more vague tasks and then they'll get it right because they've got that initiative. And you have to let them do their thing and focus on what you're good at, the needle moving task. And finally, good management and good work. So your business and the culture is a reflection of you. You cannot expect like your workforce to do things you're not willing to do. It's not, if you've never been willing to send the emails, you're not going to know how to do it, and you're not going to be willing to like teach them how to do it. So you have to know what makes them tick, what motivates them, and how they like to work. Yes, they might be in a different country. Yes, it might be a really simple task they're doing, but they're going to provide better work. They're going to go above and beyond with the emails, with the outreach, with the graphic design, with the video editing, if you actually understand them and make working for you enjoyable. So don't just disregard it. They're the ones that are driving your business forward and doing the tasks that you often don't want to do. So good management really creates good work. And the more you can make it a positive, enjoyable environment, the better work, and also the longer they'll stay with you, which saves you with the whole cost and time of the whole hiring process, training them, and it can be a faff. So that's why you really want to focus on that. And in the description, I've got an example job ad that you can use to hire VAs and make sure you get good ones. and also the interview script. So you know what questions to ask, you know what questions will help you find a good VA. I've hired about 5 or 6 VAs now. And yeah, these scripts will really help you. But that is the end of the video. If you've got this far, well done. It's a lot of information and I hope it has helped you. If you implement these steps, they're the exact steps which I wish I knew when I was a plasterer. I went 0 to 3K in 90 days just through pure me learning it on myself, by myself, with no step-to-step guide. Whereas now I've obviously grown my agency and learned a lot since then, and I'm kind of giving you all the information for that. All the resources you need are in the description. That's all the templates and everything I've shown you throughout. So you can easily click on the description, download all of them, and obviously go through your niche, your offer, the sales process all yourself to really launch your business. And then finally, I just want to say, realize that it is possible. You might be in a situation now that you're not enjoying, like I was as a plasterer, but if you take the time, take these steps, and be consistent with your actions, it is fully possible. The people out here in Bali, they're no different to you. They've just been willing to sit with that uncertainty and consistently take those actions. So if you ever have any questions, drop me a message on Instagram, which is where I'm most likely to respond. I respond to all my DMs. If you've got any questions below, you can also message them and I'll answer all of those. But thank you so much for watching. I hope this will help change your life and help you hit that 3K per month and be able to travel the world, because I know how amazing it was for me last year to finally do that. And I want to say that it is really achievable for you. So make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. I'll have plenty more information and videos to come. And yeah, thanks for watching.